So this is what most people think Band 9 students do. They think that they just get better and better and then eventually get a Band 9. This is actually not true. We have analysed hundreds of our students who got a Band 7, 8 and 9, and this is what their success actually looks like. And the key points in their journey are here, 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 and here. So Band 7, 8 and 9 students do something very, very different at these points on their journey compared to students who fail to get the score that they need. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to zoom in on this part of their journey. And it looks like this. So what happens here is the student tries something. So they try and do a whole task 2 essay, or they try and do a true, false, not given question, or they try and do like part 2 of the speaking test. They try to do something. And what happens more often than not is they will fail in some way. They won't do that thing to a Band 9 or a Band 8 or a Band 9 standard. And this is really the key point. This is what this whole video is going to be about. Band 9 students do something very, very different at this point compared to people who fail the test. So what they do is they adjust in some way, and we're going to look in detail at 7 different ways that they adjust at this stage. We're going to go into a lot of detail, and then they're able to improve. So they use this system, they use this cycle to constantly improve. And if we go back here, as you can see, they're just constantly getting better and better and better. So now let's look at in detail at this key point, because there's many different aspects to this. And we have identified 7 different things that our Band 7, 8 and 9 students do very, very differently at this key stage. So let's look at these 7 things now. So the first thing is mindset. Students who get a Band 7, 8 or 9 have what's called a growth mindset. But a student who fails the test continuously has something what we call a fixed mindset. So let's say, for example, a student does a task 2 essay and we give them feedback and we say, it's not good enough, you're not going to get the score that you need. Someone who constantly fails the test, who has a fixed mindset, what they do at this stage is they think, this is my score, it will never improve, this is evidence to show that I'm going to fail. Whereas a Band 9 student, what they will do is completely different. They will have a completely different mindset. They'll say, okay, I have failed this time, but I can grow, I can learn from this, I can improve. And this is why on our VIP course, we have a complete mindset course that we put our students through, and we've seen that that leads to dramatically different results from when we didn't have that mindset course. The second thing is their attitude to their weaknesses. So let's say a student does part 2 speaking, and we identify that there are several weaknesses in their performance. A Band 9 student will view those weaknesses as, we say on our VIP course, gold. They treat their weaknesses as gold, as something valuable that they can use in the future to get better. Whereas someone who is maybe struggling at a 6.5 or a 6, they see their weaknesses and they just get very frustrated and they don't learn from them. So a Band 9 student will take each weakness and turn it into a strength. And a Band 9 student will look for gold. They will go gold mining, if you will. They will constantly be looking to find out what their weaknesses are so that they can turn them into strengths. The third thing that Band 9 students have in common at this stage is something called systems thinking. So they think in systems. When they get feedback and they identify weaknesses, when they fail at something, they don't think, oh, I'm going to fail, this is never going to get better. What they do is they think, what did I not follow in the system? So when we take new students into the VIP course, the first thing that we do with them is teach them the mindset course. And then the second thing is we teach them a system for each part of the test. So we have a system for every part of the writing, reading, listening, and speaking test. We literally break it down into step 1, do this, step 2, do this, step 3, do this, step 4, do this, every single part. So when a Band 9 student gets to this stage, we can look at their writing, their reading, their listening, their speaking, and say, you just didn't follow the system. And this is part 3 of the system. That is the part that you didn't follow. So that makes it very, very easy for them to then adjust and improve. So if you don't have a system, you're going to find it more difficult to improve. And also our system is based on success. So it is a proven system that has worked week after week after week for more than 6 years and has produced more Band 7 or above students, more success stories than any other course. So this gives our students a lot of confidence that all they have to do is adjust, follow the system, and then they're going to improve. The fourth one is quite surprising. So someone at a Band 6, 6.5, or maybe even lower, when they get to this point, what they think is, I need to do lots and lots and lots of practice. And this is a huge mistake, because practice in the IELTS context does not actually make perfect. If you're doing the wrong thing, then you're actually getting worse. You're not getting better. What our students do, what Band 7, 8, and 9 students do, is they identify the exact thing that they need to practice, and then they focus on that. Normally it is to do with their weaknesses or a problem that they're not following the system. So our students will practice maybe 10% compared to, or 10% as much compared to someone who is failing the test over and over and over again, because we're extremely strategic in how we practice. So we're not going to practice everything. We're not going to just write lots of essays or do lots of reading tests or do lots of listening tests. We will identify the exact weakness. So let's say for writing, it could be explanations. So they only need help with explanations. So they're just going to practice that thing and get better at that thing. The fifth thing is feedback. Band 9 students get quality, proven feedback that actually helps them improve to a Band 9. At every stage, they are getting feedback from an expert who knows what they're doing. You need to improve this, now improve this, now improve this, now improve this, now improve this. They're constantly getting feedback. And they are getting feedback just on their weaknesses. And are you following the system? So we have a system that has produced a huge number of Band 7, 8, and 9 students. All they have to do is follow that system, but just looking at a video or just following a system is not enough. You need feedback, and you need feedback from an expert. And just because someone says that they're an expert on YouTube doesn't mean they actually are an expert. So we only hire people who have years and years of examining experience, and we only accept less than 1% of examiners who apply to work at IELTS Advantage, because we know how important it is for students to get accurate, simple, honest feedback. The sixth one is they have support. So what we do with our students is we give them 24/7 support. So if they have any questions, any problems, anything at all, they can ask a question 24/7. We also have multiple live lessons every day. We have more than 10 live lessons every day where the student can come in and ask a question. So they might have a question about their weaknesses. We might give them feedback and saying, you need to do this better. They might have a question about that. Or they might have a question about the systems or the feedback that they've got. As I said, your journey is not going to look like this. You will have a question, then another question, then another question, then another question, and another question. And we only hire experts. We only hire people who are really great teachers. So the support that our students get is amazing. And that's why they consistently get these higher scores. And number 7 is probably the most important one. We actually did a massive study about 2 years ago on students who failed the test. And more than 95% had one thing in common. So they the test when they were ready. So what does this mean? Well, band 5 to 6.5 students, what they will do is when they start, they will book their test, let's say 1 month in advance. And then what they will try and do is try and figure out how to get from here to here in 1 month and try and get everything done in a short period of time. It could be shorter than a month, could be longer, but really what determines their preparation is time. Band 7 to band 9 students will do it completely differently. They will not have any time at all, or I should say that they don't book their test at a time ahead in the future. What they do is they simply focus on, let's say this is a band 9. All they do is think, what do I need to do in order to get to a band 9? They don't think about time at all. So they are just constantly getting a little bit better every day by doing the right things until they're at that level that they need to be at, and then they book the test. So when our students book the test, we have told them you're ready. That means that on test day, all they're doing is just following the system and getting the score that they need. They're not nervous, they're not stressed out, because these students are extremely nervous, they're extremely stressed out because they know on test day they didn't do enough work. They know they're going to fail. When a student tells me, I'm really nervous, what I say is, yeah, you're nervous because you didn't do the work. You didn't do the preparation that is required. These students are not nervous at all because they don't book the test until they are ready. So band 9 students are not special. We're not born that way. They just followed a system. They put in the work and they got the score that they need. Our VIP course is completely full at the minute because we give so much support and feedback and help to our students. We simply cannot help that many students, but we do have a waiting list. If you're interested in joining the waiting list, click below in the link in the description and you can join our waiting list, and we can talk to you next time we have a place available. Hope that you enjoyed that video, and if you didn't like it, feel free to give it a dislike, and if you didn't like the video at all and you don't like the channel, feel free to unsubscribe. Thank you very much, and I'll see you again soon in the next video.